The girl just wanted to buy a drink, but the vending machine seemed to be broken. Annie had no choice but to leave. Just then, a man walked up to the vending machine. Annie kindly reminded him that the machine was broken, but the man didn't respond. Annie had just turned to leave, when the man actually got 2 drinks. Annie thought one of them was hers, but to her surprise, Mike ignored her. Annie didn't know he was deaf and mute. Then Mike suddenly turned around and handed her one. The two parted ways. The next day, Annie ran into Mike again. She warned Mike about a car behind him. Seeing Mike thank her in sign language, Annie finally realized he was deaf and mute. One time, they met at a restaurant. The restaurant suddenly caught fire. Annie immediately went back to save him. Mike had become deaf and mute from a fire when he was young. He was terrified of fires. At that moment, Annie gently comforted him and led him out of the restaurant. Mike wrote a note to thank Annie. Annie suddenly felt very hungry, so Mike cooked her some noodles. But Annie couldn't eat because her right hand was injured. Mike was warmed by her adorable appearance. He then handed her a fork, using his phone to ask if Annie was an actress. Annie was surprised. Just yesterday, Annie had been rejected by a director, leaving Annie all alone. Meanwhile, Mike was filming footage by the sea. After returning home, he looked at Annie's photo. He really liked this girl. Just then, thunder suddenly rumbled in the sky. Annie covered her ears to experience the world of the deaf. They sat quietly in the rain like that. Annie went home and learned sign language. But the next day, she received a portrait Mike had given her. It said Actress Annie on it. Annie had always been denied. This was the first time she was acknowledged. That day, she encountered a familiar figure again. Annie didn't catch up to the car, but they still met. Annie greeted him in sign language. The two just smiled at each other like that.